release of this particular tape, the only one the public at least has seen, how does it change the equation? It's very, very emotional. Obviously, it's a wife witnessing her husband's killing. Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Napolitano, joining us on the phone. Judge, as you know, there's a delay in getting whatever the police have out to the public. Is that a wise thing, or is it prejudicial? How do you describe the delay and why we're seeing one?
The reason for the delay, Neil, is a recently enacted statute by the legislature of North Carolina and signed by Governor McCrory, which permits the police to delay indefinitely the release of their evidence in a case like this. It's a very, very ill-advised statute, because no matter what is in that tape, which only the police and the family have seen, it gives the impression that there's something the police want to hide. Steve Harrigan's description of the wife's tape, which of course we've all seen, is right on the mark, and that tape is harrowing, and that's going to inflame the crowd. And if the police have a version of these events that tempers the effect of that, they ought to release it. And even if their version of events supports it, they ought to release it, because it's ignorance on the part of the crowd of what the evidence is that is arousing the crowd and causing the death of innocents and the destruction of property and the immobility of parts of Charlotte.
You know, it is a very emotional tape, as you said, Judge, and it is going to get a lot of people upset. I mean, whatever your thoughts on whether, whether Scott had a gun or not, he's dead. His wife witnessed his death. So for people who are angry, it's not going to matter, right?
Well, you're right in that they are angry, and they will be angry that he was dead. And look, the tape that the wife took does not show the actual shooting, but it gives the impression that a mentally impaired person, unarmed, was shot in cold blood by the police. Now, if they have some evidence to show another version of it, they better get that out there, or these things are going to get even worse. And when they hide evidence, look, when you hide something, you give the impression to the people from whom you're hiding it that it's going to make you look worse, and that's why you're hiding it. The situation is going from one where it might have been calm to one where it's going to be exacaberted radically.
Yeah, and it breeds cynicism, right? And conspiracy theories, because in a final frame shot here, where he's lying on the ground, Scott's lying on the ground, a few feet from his body is a gun. And already I've heard people commenting on that. So, oh, it had to be a plant. They just put a gun there, and so here we go.
Well, look, if the tape shows that it was reasonable for the police to believe that he had a gun and would use it, then they are legally justified in using deadly force. But if there's no rational basis to believe that he had a gun or was going to use it, then they were not justified in using deadly force. Add to that what we now know is the wife saying, A, there's no gun, B, he's had traumatic brain injury. We don't even know if he could understand what the police were saying to him. So
or that he could hear her
very quickly.
Or that he could hear her. She was outside the vehicle a good ways there. So,
correct.
It's sad all the way around. Judge, very good of you to come on. I appreciate it.
Of course, Neil.